Classic WoW losing members. Okay. Okay.
Hey guys, Tanner here. WoW had recently released a breakdown of classic WoW server population for EU and US realms.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll be leaving a link in the description below for you to check out. This breakdown shows a combined 4 million characters being created since launch.
Yeah.
They've measured this with the census add-on that constantly scans /who and reports the information to the database after the player logs off. While this does not mean there are 4 million unique players on Classic, it does give some information to go off of. For instance, since the add-on scans /who, it will not report characters that have been created but not logged into. If we say that every player has 3 toons that they've logged onto, let's say their main, an alt character, and a banker, the number of players on Classic WoW in EU and US is somewhere around 1.33 million. Classic WoW has been a smashing success and will have lasting effects on retail as well. But I am noticing the first major drop-off is starting to take place just over 3.5 weeks in.
Alright.
A number of guildies and friends are starting to not log on anymore.
Okay.
Why is this? And what does it mean for Classic moving forward? Well, let's take a look at top 6 reasons Classic WoW numbers are decreasing, shall we? And also, disclaimer, these are not my personal opinions, this is just information I've gathered after speaking with other players. I'll let you know my opinion at the end of the video. Now, on with the list. Number 1, the hype is gone. We all remember the exact moment Classic WoW was announced at BlizzCon 2017. The hype was real. It was a huge sigh of relief after the ongoing drama surrounding Blizzard and Astarius. Blizzard obviously knew people were hyped and wanted it to snowball in a big way. Why else would they have a Classic WoW demo available for everyone who wanted to participate in BlizzCon 2018?
To increase the price of the sale ticket and to get people to buy BlizzCon virtual tickets, that's why. Let's be real.
But only a small portion allowed in the beta prior to release. People may have lost some sort of hype in participating in the beta so close to the release time. Blizzard created what is known as an artificial scarcity, which is the value of a product being drastically increased by there being very little available, but not through natural circumstances. Look at it this way. The Swift Spectral Tiger is one of the most iconic mounts ever to be in World of Warcraft. This TCG exclusive is an extremely rare and sought after mount, for there being very little to ever exist. Blizzard could release a multitude more of these Swift Spectral Tiger codes, but if they did, it wouldn't be anything to drool over. The same goes for WoW Classic. If they allowed more people in the beta, when it was released, there wouldn't really be anything to drool over. Number 2, queue times. Servers have been jam-packed since launch, leaving a significant queue time for most realms. Individuals who only have a few hours to play after work are getting discouraged by having to spend at least an hour in queue to log in. Queue times do show that the game is alive and well, but it can have a lasting negative impression on certain players.
I think this is probably true because it's like for me, right? I mean, I'm living a neat lifestyle, so I don't need to worry about this at all. I can sit in queue all fucking day. Who cares? But for somebody who has more time, right? You know, has less time, they spend more time at work or whatever, they're not going to be able to do that. And also I'm logging on in the very, very early hours of the morning, whereas like other people, like we were logging on last night and it took like an hour and a half to get in. And most people might only have an hour and a half to play. So how are they going to be able to get home and play the game if the entire time they're going to play the game is taken up by the queue?
It does not feel good when you only have 2 hours to play, and half of it is sitting in a queue. Queue times are certainly coming down, which is evidence that less people are attempting to log in, and we may see these players return in a month or so once these queue times are gone. Number 3, packed zones. This one gets on everyone's nerves. Zones that are packed with players fighting over the same quest mob, only for you to not get it and have to wait for it to respawn. Layering has done a good job reducing this, but it's still a thorn in everyone's side. People will endlessly gank the opposing faction if they're trying to take quest mobs that they need for themselves. So you have to hope it's your faction killing the mobs in your area, or be ready to basically face off. A legitimate—
Or you just play on a PvE server, right? If that's an issue for you. It's like having to compete with the opposite faction for quest mobs and everything like that. If you play on a PvP server, you're basically saying, this is what I want to do. And if like you don't like doing that, then don't play on a PvP server, because that's one of the main components of it. Like, what are the big differences between PvE and PvP servers? Number one is that you can engage players in combat that are of the opposite faction out in the world. So it would only make sense that players are competing over the items and the resources because they're limited. That's what makes it interesting. I'm not saying like, obviously just because somebody plays on a PvP server doesn't mean they want to be engaged in world PvP 9 hours a day, right? There's a certain point where it is too much. And if this guy is saying that, then I would say maybe not. Whenever I'm out in the world, it doesn't really seem like it's as crowded, or it's not crowded enough to the point to where I would consider it a problem.
The method for getting around it being the same faction is, well,
yeah,
not helping a fellow Horde or Alliance member when it's needed. My group has run up on another Horde group trying to kill an elite, and I actually told them in Discord, don't help. Let them die if it means that we don't have to wait for the mob to respawn.
Yep.
I mean, survival of the fittest, right? Number 4,
yep,
falling behind the pack. Friends have been planning out their leveling method for months before Classic launch. They theory craft out their best leveling teams and count down the days until Classic is released.
Yep.
Once the game is released, the friends grind out their levels together. But around level 25, Jimmy has to take 2 days off because his mom makes him go outside.
Whoa.
I mean, the bro is 36 years old and hasn't seen the sunlight for weeks at a time. I don't understand why mother pulls this on one of the most important days that he can remember. Jimmy goes to the playground to meet up with his friends. There's no one in sight. They're all logged onto the game. Well, Jimmy is now 10 levels behind his friends. All that preparation he spent with his friends is down the drain. He tries to keep playing in an attempt to catch up, but to no avail. Out of frustration, he decides to log back onto retail, where he is captain of his guild's 3rd raid team, since he plays a white knight with 14 extra charisma points. Number 5.
Okay, I think that one actually does kind of make sense, right? Because like that's why, like, you have to remember, like, all these problems that this guy is bringing up are problems that retail WoW solved. Like, for example, like the problem of being too far behind, retail WoW solved by having the level, what do you call it? The thing where like the levels are together, if that makes sense. Or what was it called? The level scaling, right? The mob scaling. So you can quest with somebody who's level 50 if you're level 20, and you guys just go do the quest together, right? It's not really a big deal. By making everything too freaking easy, well, it's not about making it easy, right? These are two separate conversations. But yes, what he's saying is an issue, and Blizzard realized that, and that's why they made the level scaling. Now, is that a good idea? No, I don't think so at all. But, you know, it is something that Blizzard felt like was a problem. I think that it's better to have people feel like they're falling behind than have people not care about falling behind. That's my opinion.
Quality of life, or too much of a grind. Individuals log into WoW Classic for something different. They're tired of retail and think they want a taste of what the Classic experience is like.
Yeah.
Well, they think they do, but they don't. After a few weeks of trying out the game, they're tired of the grind. They're used to leveling at such faster speed due to quality of life changes that retail has made.
Yeah.
Without Dungeon Finder, heirlooms, or an early/cheap mount, the game feels dull. These players will either try out many different classes in a short period of time or stop playing around level 30. Number 6, content being cleared. On launch day, players...
So yeah, I think that is true. There are a lot of people, and this is the same as even in vanilla WoW, right? I mean, they, you know, their friend says, hey man, you gotta try out this game, dude. This shit's gonna be so fucking fun, man, dude. Just come on, level on, dude. We got a fucking BWL raid, dude. As soon as you get 60, dude, we're gonna fucking do this, man. It's gonna be awesome. And then so the guy, he goes and he plays the game, and he's like, you know what? This shit's taking forever. I don't wanna, you know, I don't wanna do this. And that's been the case forever. And so it makes sense, right, that a lot of people, like what he's saying makes sense, that a lot of people came from retail and they play Classic. They're like, yeah, this is taking forever. I don't really like this as much. I like the way the game is now. And then I just go back to retail. Like, yeah, of course that happens.
Are ready to blow through the leveling process as quick as possible. With their energy drinks on hand and diapers snugly fit, they departed from their normal lives. They hit level 60 in about a week or two and rushed through the gearing/attunement process, and after easily clearing through all the content, they realized that the game was over with for the time being. Phase 2 is not out yet, so the PvP system isn't in the game. They now only log on to clear raids or to socialize with friends. The game is far easier than these players remember or expected, so they lost interest once content is cleared. Don't worry though, these players have not ventured off too far. They will definitely be back. With these reasons listed out, let me be the first to say that the Classic WoW fanbase is not in danger by any means.
No.
Sure, some members have logged off, but I can guarantee majority of those players will be back in time to either A, finish grinding at levels once the queue times die down, or B, to raid or participate in PvP once the new content is out. In future phases, it'll be easier to retain the players as well, since they will have the rank 14 grind and multiple raids to do every week, rather than just...
I don't feel like the rank 14 grind is going to be compelling for an average player. That's something that's like, that's compelling in the same way that having Nax Ramus out is compelling. This is content that's geared towards, you know, appealing to a very, very high level of player. Maybe it might be compelling enough to have them try to get their blue set, you know, like the field, or not field marshal, like the knight lieutenant and knight commander set, you know, and the blue set, which is not really that bad, by the way. It's not that bad, but it's also not the epic set. So will the rank 14 and honor system really engage a lot of people into the game? I really don't think so. I think that if you're disengaged from the game because you don't think there's enough content right now, you probably won't come back for the rank 14 grind, unless that's just something that you're really looking forward to specifically.
Only Onyxia and Ragnaros. If there's any advice for players out there that I can give, it's to finish the leveling grind while you can. Because once phase 2 hits, the PvP system will be introduced and leveling will be substantially harder.
Yes,
now,
that's
my
very
opinion,
true.
I'm in love with the old Azeroth, and personally don't plan on going anywhere.
Good.
Even if endgame content is cleared relatively easily. Classic WoW overall.
I don't think that the in-game content being cleared relatively easily is anything that's going to be harmful to the game as a whole. I don't think that's going to make a difference at all. Especially, it's like one of the sad things that I hear is that people are saying that they don't want to play the game anymore because other guilds were able to clear the raids really fast. That is a really, really pathetic thing to do. I hope nobody is doing that. And, you know, it's going to happen with some people, but the idea that, oh, wow, I'm going to quit the fucking game because, you know, other people are clearing the raids fast, that is such a stupid thing to do. But, you know, I guess some people are just stupid. Classical because more immersion. Well, yeah, there's more stuff in the game, too. I mean, like, that's it. But anyway, like, what he's saying about the raids being cleared and everything, and, like, there being more content later on in the future, that is true for high-end raiders, is you're going to have people, and those high-end raiders are not quitting, by the way. They're not quitting, like what this guy's saying. They're just raid logging. And that's what people do all the time in retail, is after they clear all the content, they get all of the items that they want to get from like farming and everything, right? It's the same as like even in BFA, right? Is after you get like 70 Azeroth level or 70 Azerite level, you get your legendaries, you have all your benthic gear, you probably just raid log. There's a lot of people that just raid log. They log on to raid and then they log back off. Classic is the exact same way.
Is alive and well, and I'm sure retail will benefit from this also. Players will get burnt out of Classic, and rather than going to a different game, they'll go to BFA and start bouncing back and forth between the patch cycles. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I mean, you do have a constitutional right to be wrong if you choose to. Either way, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know if there's any that I missed. If there's a number 7 or a number 8 you'd like to throw in, throw it in. Consider leaving a like on the video since it does help me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And always consider subscribing to the channel with the notifications on for future releases. Thanks a bunch, and I'll see you in Azeroth.
Okay. So let me read these comments, all right? Let me see what they said. And these are all just my comments. Let's see people that make it here. Yeah, okay, so... I'm going to go ahead and link this here. Yeah, 7 is Asmongold. Yeah, so people are quitting the game because of me. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's very, very true. So do you think you do, you don't? That's true for some people? Of course it is. And I think that it's naive to say otherwise. Of course there are a lot of people that are going to start playing the game, right? And they're going to be like, man, this is kind of cool. I enjoy this, right? Or whatever. And, you know, they play it for a little bit longer. And I'm sorry, but people just get tired of that shit.